Hey, I'm Zach, Johnny's producer on his podcast, Masters of Wealth. Today on the show, Johnny's sitting down with Dr. Eric Cole, a CIA-trained cybersecurity expert and keynote speaker that's got over 30 years of experience catching bad guys on the internet. Stick around to hear Johnny and Eric talk about being safe on the internet while this whole coronavirus thing is in full swing, how today's hackers are using the law of large numbers to steal more than ever before, and what it means to be truly successful when you can lose it all in just one click.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Masters of Wealth Show. I'm your host, Johnny Wimbrey. As always, I am excited to bring you guests that I'm excited to interview. Today, I'm super excited because we get to touch into a different realm of information, a different depth, if you will, for my curiosity. And I am sure that many of you will borrow my curiosity as we dive into this interview with the one and only, the man himself, Mr. Eric Cole, Cyber 911, is in the building. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing awesome, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I know, man. How's everything at home? Let's get the obvious out of the way right now. I know this is going to air, and I'm pretty sure we're still going to be dealing with the coronavirus. Speaking of viruses and Cyber 911, and I think we can hook these connections of conversations together in some shape, form, or fashion. How are you and your family doing right now?
We're doing good. I mean, we're all healthy. The problem is my son's home from college. My kids are home from school, and we're all locked in the house together. And I tell you, I'm more concerned of surviving my family than I am the coronavirus, man, because being trapped in the house is crazy, man.
I'm normally the one that the family needs a vacation from.
Exactly.
So it's pretty interesting in the Wimbrey home. But it takes me back, to kind of when I was younger. We bought board games out yesterday. We've been, running around the neighborhood. My son's on his four-wheeler, and I'm jogging with the family. And it's a cool way to bond. So we're kind of settling into our own safety, settling into our own peace of mind. And who knows, man? I think some good will come from, all of this. You can turn this mess into a message. So let's talk about you, man. You are, that cyber guru. You're the individual that keeps us safe before we even know you exist.
Exactly. I started off my career at the CIA, where I was a professional hacker for 8 years. The thing I was telling everybody, which scares them but also makes them feel comfortable, is if it's a computer and it's connected to the internet, it's hackable. That's just a fundamental principle you got to accept.
This is going, man. I'm tripping right now because I am going to love this interview. I'm going to love this interview because, I'm the type of guy that I love watching the movie where the guy that's in, federal prison, white collar prison, because, he was that hacker guy, and then the CIA hires him, and now he works directly for the government, has no other life other than to hack or prevent hacks, because that's what they're in prison for. Let's talk about this. This is making some good stuff, man. So how did you get into this? And let's go one step at a time, because I'm too excited. How did you start this process of this particular industry?
I'll tell you, I wish I could say I had this well thought out plan, but I'm a big fan of, you sort of trust your instinct, listen to the universe, and everything works out the way it should. So I'm in college, computer science. This is in the late 80s, where computer science was really more Fortran, electrical engineering. And I'm sitting in class one day and I'm saying, I don't know if I want to do this. And some just urged me to go down to the co-op office and see if they had any interns available. And I kid you not, I walk in and she goes, Eric, tomorrow the CIA is interviewing on campus. We have one slot left. And if you came an hour later or tomorrow, you would have missed out on the opportunity. So it's just sort of that right place at the right time. I then fly down there, do all my clearances, but probably all that crazy stuff. And when you're a co-op at the CIA, you're a free resource. So everybody wants you to work for them. So I'm interviewing with Network Operations Center, operating system, programming, AI, and this little group called security. And it's funny, back in the 80s, I talked to everyone, and they're like, cybersecurity is a fad. Don't worry about it. Don't follow it. I don't follow directions very well. So I went into cybersecurity. I thought it would be cool. And I'll tell you, 30 years later, the rest is history, and I'm having an amazing journey.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, when you say the word CIA, I'm literally like seeing a Netflix special come in my head. Like I feel like I watched a movie like 3 weeks ago that was right along the lines of everything that you just said. Are you sure there's never been a movie based on your story?
As far as I know, it hasn't. It's funny because a lot of people recently has been saying that, like, that
No.
I should either write a book on, because I've written books, but not on my autobiography. But they're like, yeah, you have some pretty interesting background.
No, seriously. When you said you were the last student, you walked in at the right place at the right time, and you were invited to get that last seat, I could have swore I saw a movie like 3 weeks ago that's in alignment to what you just said. But man, so you go into this field that's unpredictable for the next couple decades in terms of where it's headed, but you're the reason that people like me feel safe, and here's a crazy thing. The fact that I don't have an ongoing relationship with someone like you on a daily, weekly, or even a monthly basis proves the fact that people like you are important, because people like me don't have time to slow down to talk to people like you. It's your job to keep me safe so I don't slow down.
I would agree with that for 90%, except with today's attackers. I can do a lot. We can find out a lot, secure as much as we can. The problem is most of these attackers out there today, I know where they are. I can give you their names, their address in Russia, in
Really?
China, and North Korea. The problem is we don't have extradition treaties and we can't arrest them. So they just keep doing their thing. We block them. They jump to new IP addresses. So the one thing I will say that falls back on you and all the listeners is be careful when you receive an email with an attachment or an embedded link. That is probably the most dangerous thing on the planet. And just recently, they have broken in and stolen $30 million in the last week just because of corona scams, because they're sending an email out saying critical information about coronavirus, check here to see if you're infected. Everyone's freaking out. Everyone clicks on it, and boom, before they know it, their bank account's wiped out.
Are you serious? That's going on
right now. Whenever there's anything bad in the world, they're going to exploit it, take advantage of it. And in one week, just on corona scams, $30 million.
$30 million in 1 week on corona scams just by clicking a link through an email. Success. So let me ask you a question. Someone like me or someone like my mom, she wouldn't see herself as a target. Like, who's going to come after me? But are those the people they're going after? Is the $10 here, $15 here? Or are they really going in and pulling everything out of their account where it's noticeable instantly?
No, it's the small amount. Yes, once in a while, like with Bitcoin attacks, they'll try to get a few mil. But what attackers found to be much more beneficial is instead of taking $1 million from 10 people, is take $10 from 1 million people.
From 1 million people.
It's a small amount. And I will tell you, especially your mom, the older demographics, people, I don't know how old your mom is.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't make her too old, but people over 60 are the number one target of cyber attacks because they didn't grow up with technology. They're living on their retirement. They're always looking to make money, and they're good, honest, trustworthy people. And unfortunately, these cyber criminals are pure evil.
You know what I like about not what you just said, but the passion in which you said it, like you lit up. So you have a passion to help people. You have a passion, to prevent this from people who are, older or weaker or less knowledgeable. Where's that passion come from? Like, why do you care?
I love helping people.
I can tell you light up instantly.
I love teaching, love helping people. And I'll tell you, I'm on a mission to make cyberspace safe because whether we like it or not, we live most of our lives in cyberspace, yet none of us were ever given training. Think about it. When you were a little kid, your parents and your teachers told you, don't talk to strangers.
Yep.
Don't take candy. Don't get in a car with somebody you don't know. We learn about stranger danger. But then at whatever age you're handed a cell phone and nobody gives you any guidance, any rules, any policies, anything else. And that thing we're holding in our hand that we're given to 6-year-olds, 15-year-olds, or 50-year-olds is probably one of the most dangerous devices because it has access to all of our information at the click of a finger.
Jeez. Wow. That is so good, man. I'm looking at your information right here and your background and everything that you've done, from being on 60 Minutes, CNN, CBS News, the Wall Street Journal. The New York, you've been everywhere, brother. Just almost everywhere. And I want to say the name of your books because one of your books just stand out to me. I'm the guy who I love watching gangster stuff. I love watching, like mafia movies, and I love just learning personality types. And it seems like, it's gone away from the traditional, in your face gangster scared of your life to more so like, no, be calm. Everything's going to be okay. We love you. We're going to protect you. We take $5 out of your account, but you're not going to miss it. Like, I feel like the aggression has left because of technology being so simple. It's so simple to dig into our accounts. Listen to these titles, man. Online danger, network security, hackers beware, hiding in plain sight. That's my, I love that. I want to talk about that. Insider threat and cyber spying. The title of the books that you have written. I want to talk about hiding in plain sight, because that's how I feel. I feel like, you know what? You take $1 out of my account once every 10 days, I'm probably not going to see it. I'm not going to fuss about it. But the truth is, the only reason I feel that way is because I feel like they're hiding in plain sight. I feel like there's an agreement. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because we think criminals, and like you said, we think somebody with a bandana over their face, a gun, a knife, beating you up, hurting you, or things like that. But really, in cyberspace, not only can anyone be a criminal, but they're very nice and kind about it. They're sending you an email saying, hey, let us help you out, or we found some malware on your computer system, or let us give you some information about Corona. And you let your guard down, you let the emotions kick in, and all of a sudden, boom, you're compromised. And the scariest part is most businesses are compromised for 3 years before they detect it. And most individuals are compromised for 27 months before they ever detect it, because it's such a small amount, nobody's even looking.
I want to share a quick story with you. We're going to trace back the breadcrumbs, like on Hansel and Gretel, if you will. I want you to see, what happened to me that I didn't know that happened, that you'll probably know just based on this story. So I'm in Barbados. I'm speaking. I want to say it was the last few days of me speaking. And for some reason, I checked one of my bank accounts. And this is one of the bank accounts I really don't use a lot. But I set up this account because I got qualified through a home with a credit union. So I just dumped a lot of money into this account and just let it sit there. For some reason, I checked. And there was over $100,000 successfully taken out of my account. Now, here's what I don't understand. It was 10 transactions of $10,000 apiece in less than 7 days. So I called them. They never called me. I called and I said, hey guys, what's going on? Like, I'm obviously not moving $10,000 a day out of my account. And said, well, we have documentation that you called. They had your password, they had your security information, but they had an accent. And I'm like, why was that not a red flag? Like, why wasn't it a red flag that somebody from another country with a different accent was successfully taking money out of my account? Now, they had to replace all the money because it traced back to being their fault. But they never went after the people because they said it wasn't worth it. Talk to me. I don't understand that.
Yeah. So a couple things there. Yeah, you were lucky enough that they actually just scammed you, so the bank was liable. But in a lot of these cases, if they sent you an email and you actually clicked on it to authorize a transaction without realizing it, so you actually did the transaction, in many of those cases, the individual is out the money. So that's why you got to be so careful. Also, with bank fraud, you have 48 hours in which you can trace the money. And then after that, you really can't figure it out because they're going to move it through so many banks so quickly, you're never going to be able to catch it. So because it was more than 48 hours from a bank standpoint, they would have had to spend probably $400,000 to $500,000 on trying to trace it with maybe a 10% chance of getting it back. They have insurance, so it's much easier for them just to let the insurance pay for it. And that's why I recommend on any bank account that you have, set up automatic alerting. So with all my bank accounts, if anyone tries to move or transfer or EFT more than $2,000, I get a text alert on my phone immediately. And then it's not me. I'm like, okay, we got to handle it. Because if you catch it in 48 hours, that's sort of that magic number. So it's really today's cybersecurity about getting that better visibility.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's the reason why I wanted you on the show, and I love the fact that you are on the show. The show is called Masters of Wealth. So I have a lot of people who are watching right now under the umbrella of what I would call wealth enthusiasts. And what I mean by wealth enthusiasts, these are individuals who are excited about being wealthy, but not just being wealthy. You know, what I want my audience to do is I want you to gain wealth, maintain wealth, and sustain it. And what we don't think about in a lot of times is who's protecting our wealth. Who's going to protect us? Like this, the information that just came off your tongue, so simple. You know, my mentor says, you don't know what you don't know, right? And the definition of, ignorance is you just don't know. And the definition of foolishness is when you do know, but you don't take action. And what you just said to me is, like, as soon as we're finished, I'm going to every one of my banks and I'm setting up an alert. Every one of my credit cards, I'm setting up an alert. Why? Because the master told me to. I'm that coachable. And I don't have to go through this whole phase of why should I do it? You said do it. And I'm telling you guys, as you're watching this show on Masters of Wealth, you really, really want to maintain and sustain and initially gain wealth. It's important to understand how to protect it as well. I see so many people, protecting their body. Like they work out, they take care of themselves. That's wonderful and that's great. But that's in our face. Every time we look up, that's in our face, how to protect your body. It's not in our face in terms how to protect our wealth from cyber bullies and people who, are, just cyber crooks. And I can see why your seminars are doing incredibly well, just because of especially high-level people who have something to lose and those who are on their way to have something to lose. They don't want to miss your events. Let's talk about your event, Cyber 911. In a nutshell, what happens? Who's your target for that event?
So the target for that event is people that either have businesses, run businesses, and want to understand cybersecurity at a level that they can protect themselves and the individuals in it. So for example, one of our big targets there is people that have $5 to $20 million companies, which is a nice company, but they don't have a dedicated security or IT staff yet. One cyber attack, and I can give you hundreds of examples, one cyber attack can wipe out their entire business and basically destroy them. So it's one of those just raising that awareness. And you said like the working out, the example I give is cyber hygiene. But most people have good.
Hold on. I can't let you run back.
Terrible cyber hygiene.
Hold on. Cyber hygiene. Okay, man. Let's stay there for a second. Let's slow down. Break that down for my people.
So cyber hygiene is just being aware that all your information, all of your data, and everything is online, and just doing good practices. So, for example, most people don't realize most banks, investment accounts, e-commerce, anything you use credit card or money, they have good security built in, but it's not turned on by default. So when you go into your banks today or tomorrow, like you said, go in and not only turn on alerting, but you also want to turn on two-factor authentication. So it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but this is every time you log into a site, it texts you a one-time password.
Yeah.
But that simple thing will stop, like you said, with your bank account, somebody got your password. If you had two-factor in place, that wouldn't have happened. And then the other thing is when you're checking email and you're going to click on links or open attachments, don't do it from a Windows device, because most of the malware out there is targeted for Windows, because Windows has a 92% installation base. So when I'm checking my emails and I'm not sure, because I get targeted a lot, whether it's legit or not, I'm just opening attachments and clicking on links on my iPhone. And that's a much, much safer way than checking unknown emails on a dangerous platform like Windows.
Oh, wow. Okay, so glad you said that. I'm gonna make it mandatory for my wife to watch this show 3 times. I want to talk about a story. I want you to give me a story off the cuff. I want to talk about, the worst case story and the best case story of your personal experiences of, how someone called you too late. And the reason I'm asking this question, I used to sell home security systems when I was like 21, 22, 23 years old. And typically people would call to get a home security system when? After they've been broken into. So that's kind of like a worst case scenario for me. And then you have the best case scenario of how someone was this close, but they called you on time. Give me a couple scenarios that will wake the people up. And I want to say this too. Cyber 911 seminars, I want to end talking about that because I want to I have a confession for you, but we'll talk about that confession in just a second.
Okay. So worst case scenario, and like I said, I work on these unfortunately all the time, but a person was doing trading with one of the cyber currency, Bitcoin, and had got in early and accumulated over $15 million worth of Bitcoins. But they're busy, wealthy person doing a lot of things, traveling around the world. And not only was somebody able to get in to their account, but they sent him a fake email saying, hey, this is the brokerage firm and we're having some issues. We need to verify. We're going to send you a one-time password and we need you to text that to us so we can verify your identity. And this guy didn't know security, brilliant, a lot of oil, gas, money, things like that. So he goes in, does that, gives it to him, and basically they wipe out. Now, I don't know why. They left 3 million. They only took 12. I guess they were nice attackers. I don't know. But they took 12 million from his account. He didn't catch it till 20 days later. And now he's in a lawsuit where he's trying to sue them. But I'll be honest with you. Unfortunately, in that case, he's at fault. He gave away his password. He gave away his token. He gave away his data because he was tricked by the adversary. But he was the one that ultimately allowed the money to be stolen.
Wow. So he assumes all responsibility. So how was this person a target? If they're busy, they're not bragging about how big their account is. They're not like on a show talking about how much money they have. How was that individual a target?
Unfortunately, today with the internet, you can find out pretty close what people's net worth are. So with using search engines and other factors, I can go in full property value. So we believe he was targeted because 2 months prior to this, he bought a property in upstate New York for $4.5 million. So we think that they pulled those records because that people don't realize that's public information. And they can find that and then use that to target you. Same thing with sports cars. If you buy a nice Lambo, do you realize when you register it with DMV, that's public record? So people can go in and search on, okay, tell me everyone who's bought over a $300,000 sports car. Show me everyone that's purchased a new piece of property. They unfortunately can find wealthy people. And wealthy people are very smart but very busy. And they're so busy that they don't always think before they act. And that's how the attackers get them.
Jeez. So how did you help that person? If they're not going to be able to, you said you traced it back or they figured out who did it.
Right. So I'm helping that person because he's going to court. And one of the lines of business I do is expert witness. Witness. I'm trying to go in and help him, showing that the company should have had proper alerting and monitoring in place in this case, because they told him the reason why he went with this brokerage firm is they told him that we monitor your account 24/7 and would alert you of unusual activity, and they never did. So I'm trying to sort of help him because he really meant to do the right thing. So I'm trying to help him on that. But that's sort of a last resort type of situation.
And if that guy was a client beforehand, you would have told him to do what?
I would have told him to set up alerting on his account. Also, I know it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but set up what's called a paper signature, which means if you transfer more than $1 million, you can pick the amount. More than $1 million, go in and require an in-person signature and verification, because you shouldn't be doing it that often, and just sort of protect your money. And then the last thing was to diversify. Don't keep 15 mil in one spot. Put it over multiple accounts, and or get somebody to monitor that for you if you're too busy, but somebody needs to be watching those accounts on a daily basis, looking for unusual activity when you have anything above 5 or 6 mil.
Wow. You're brilliant, man. I've got somebody I want you to meet. I want you to remind me once we get off the show. I want my business partner to know who you are because it is in my best interest that he's protected. And number two, let's talk about the other, flip side of the coin, another story.
So on a positive side, we had somebody who was going in to submit his taxes, and he started noticing that he was getting some unusual letters from the IRS on tax filings and things like that. So he called me immediately, and we were able to get on the phone with the IRS and realize that somebody was filing fraudulent tax returns in his name. But with IRS, you have 45 days. So we caught it at the 31-day mark. So we were able to catch it within the 45 days, reverse it. And this story I like because a lot of these cyber criminals aren't always brilliant. So we were actually able to set up a sting operation, pretend to wire him money. And then when he went to the bank to get the money, we actually had law enforcement waiting. So we're actually able to arrest the guy. He's evidently done this 40 or 50 times, accumulated over $7 billion. The FBI couldn't catch him, and we were able to catch him within about 2 weeks.
Boom. I love that, man. You're the guy that you can't afford not to have. You understand what I'm saying? Like, not having access to someone like you makes me feel unsafe. I'm also a health and life insurance agent since I was 20 years old, and the mere definition of health insurance is the transference of risk. It doesn't mean it doesn't say it's never going to happen. We're just going to transfer the risk because we know it's coming. We know something's going to happen, so insurance is in place just to transfer the risk. Here's my confession. If I got an email that said Cyber 911 convention coming to town, immediately right off the top, I'm thinking, I'm going to send in my geeks. I'm going to send in my nerds. I'm going to send in the people who outthink me that are in place to protect me. And my confession is, that's stupid to think that way. Like, I want to be there. Like just the first 20 minutes of this interview, I'm having this moment where I'm thinking, Johnny, like, this is something you need to be in, not sending people to. Because ultimately, you're the one who makes the decision, I need you to protect me. I need this right now. That knowledge is paramount for my, generational wealth.
Exactly. Everyone wants to transfer security to somebody else. I'm too busy, that's someone else. And the bottom line is, all of these people that I'm talking about have security departments, they have firewalls, IDSs, all these pieces in place. The problem is, at the end of the day, there's two fundamental facts. One, you and everyone listening is going to be a target of a cyber attack. And two, cybersecurity is your responsibility. You can't transfer that piece. And going back to your insurance, you can go in and you can transfer that liability component, but ultimately you can't transfer the impact to you or your business if you lose all that money or suffer a major attack.
That was good. I don't like being outdone. That was good. That was real good. That was good, Eric, man. Wow. Well, listen, man, I have several websites in front of me that I'm looking at. I know you have secure/anchor.com. How do you want people to find you? What's the best route for individuals? And I feel like I'm crawling into a new space. So how do people like me crawl into your information without being overwhelmed?
Probably best bet is find me on social media, on LinkedIn, DrEriccole, Dr. Eric Cole.
We'll put it all here.
So I have a lot of content there. Also, if you're business focused and you want to protect your business, go to secureanchor.com. But if you're just an individual and you want to protect your wealth, protect your family, protect your parents, go to onlinedanger.com. And right now I'm giving away a free copy of my book, Online Danger. And that's one of my few books that are not technical, but written to help the masses understand the real dangers and how to protect themselves.
Sure. And I want to tell my viewers and listeners right now that, I don't just care about you becoming wealthy. I care about you generationally being able to pass that down. And it's very important for me, for me that you understand the reason that I have Mr. Cole on the show right now is to protect you. Like, I don't benefit from your protection. I benefit from your testimony of you getting protected. And that's what I want for you. And I'm hoping that people will go, you said onlinedanger.com or dangeronline.com?
Online Danger, onlinedanger.com.
I'm going to say it 3 times. onlinedanger.com, onlinedanger.com, onlinedanger.com. Please go there if you knew that it could protect you against, something that's going to come up 3, 5, 10 years from now, and it could totally wipe you out and devastate you. And you simply going to that website right now could make a hell of a difference. Eric, man, I would love to do this again with you. I'd love to be on stage and interview you and pull things out of you that you probably take for granted because it's your story, you lived it. But someone like me, it's new, it's fresh, it's mesmerizing to me that, you would start in college, work for the CIA, and then, ultimately launch your own company that, 100% designed to protect people who take these devices for granted. We take that easy access point for granted, but you're the gatekeeper of that access point.
Now, I would love to hang out with you more. Let's get on stage. And the nice thing with me is if we go out and get in a whole lot of trouble, I know how to change all the records so there's no permanent. I'm a good guy to hang out with.
I'm bringing my boys with me on that one. I'm bringing my boys. I'm the author of the book From the Hood to Doing Good. I made a lot of bad decisions in life. My earliest memory of life living in a battered women's shelter. Sold crack cocaine when I was 14 years old. Had a felony arrest as a teenager. I got a brother serving 40 years in prison right now. The only difference is I didn't get caught. So people ask me, where does my passion come from? The subtitle of my book is From Adversity to Prosperity Through the Choices You Make. My passion is to help people make good choices. That's really my passion. And, sometimes it's just one foot in front of the other. And it's hard for us to see where you're at right now and think to ourselves that we can be protected way down here when you're way up there. And the truth is, it's better to learn to be protected down here before you get up there. And
yeah, exactly. If you can learn wherever you're at now, if you can learn to protect your $100,000, then when you have $1 million and 10 million, it becomes a lot easier. Yeah. And if you're ready for 10 million, learn to protect it now. So when you have 100 million and $1 billion, you can keep that safe and secure also.
Man, this is good stuff, brother. I guarantee you my listeners and viewers, they're going to be like, when are you going to have that Eric Cole guy back on? Because this is a subject that doesn't sound entertaining. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of sizzle to it. But the truth is, when you start peeling back the layers, man, there's a lot of sizzle to this subject. And I'm going to be devouring your website and your information, and hopefully we'll be back together face-to-face on stages somewhere around the world very soon. Do you do international as well, or is the North America your market?
As long as they allow me to leave the country, because right now with the band. But yeah, I do a lot in Saudi Arabia, Europe, Australia, Singapore. Yeah, I go around the world.
Nice. All right, very good. I've done a lot of business in Singapore, Australia. Haven't done Saudi Arabia yet, but Europe is one of my largest markets, as well as Africa. So there may be some huge benefits of us being seen together and doing some cool stuff together on a global scale. I'm the networking guy. I'm the builder. I build organizations around the world, and there are systems in place that I jokingly say this from stage. Like, I don't know how a microphone works. I don't care how it works. I don't really want to slow down. That's Zach's job. It's my producer's job to learn how this stuff works. I just want to be able to turn this little red light on and the frickin' thing works. It's his job to protect me, to make sure all the wires are together and are in the right place. And that's how I feel about you. Like, having someone in my corner, makes me feel safe. And when I feel safe, I become more productive. And I think that's the key that most people need to understand. There may be a chance in your life that you're not experiencing what you want in life and business because maybe there's an invisible fear factor. And that invisible fear factor is, if you do hit a certain level, then you become a target. Well, Eric Cole wants you to become that target because he wants to be in place to protect you and to protect me. Eric Cole, you are a master of wealth, brother. I appreciate you being on the show. Is there anything else you want to leave with the people? I'll give you 60 seconds, 2 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes. I don't care. I'm very curious. Take it away, brother. Anything you want to share with the people, lead them back to you. I don't care, but this is your time to shine. Take it.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, take cybersecurity seriously, because most people think of it like accidents, illnesses, and robberies. Those are things that happen to other people. And unfortunately, in the digital world that we live today, it's not a matter of if, but when you're going to suffer an attack. Yep. I'm not trying to be fear, uncertainty, and doubt, all the FUD stuff, but I've worked with enough people that it's not 50, 60, or 70%. It's 100% guarantee that you and every listener over the course of their lifetime is going to suffer multiple cyber attacks and cyber breaches. The good news is it's preventable. If you can go in and be aware, stay away from Windows, don't click links, use a simple device like an iPhone, set up alerting, set up passwords, you can actually be protected in cyberspace. It's not difficult. And I really want to help you. So if you go to secureanchor.com or Online Danger and you don't find what you want, ecole@secureanchor.com, ecole@secureanchor.com. That's my email address. I'd love to hear from you, love to help you out, because I use every single person as one step closer to making cyberspace a safe place to live, work, and raise a family.
To make cyberspace a good place to eat well. A safe place. I love that, man. Yeah, this is, and I know people don't see me speechless often, but as you're talking, I'm picturing all the levels of vulnerabilities that I have that are in place right now. And, I'm very grateful for this conversation, because it's better to be prepared and not called than it is to be called and not prepared. And your information will prepare the masses. And I want the world to know who you are. I know they already do, but I want my audience to stay glued to you, because, what does it mean to become financially successful if in one click of a button you can lose it? And Eric Cole, it is your responsibility to protect us when that button is clicked. And I'm going to stay close to you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being on the show. God bless you, man. I have a very, very, very crazy feeling that we'll be face to face helping a lot of people together.
Yeah, I look forward to working with you. And thank you so much. And we'll be in touch soon, my friend. Thank you.
Let's go, man. All right. We'll see you, man. Thanks for being on the show. Eric Cole.
Thanks for listening to Masters of Wealth. To find out more about Eric, follow him on Facebook at facebook.com/drericCole, or check out his website at www.secure-anchor.com. To learn more about Johnny, follow him on Instagram at Wimbry, and check out his website at johnnywimbry.com. And to hear more episodes of Masters of Wealth, subscribe on your favorite podcasting platforms so that you can be the first to get new episodes delivered straight to your phone every single Monday. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.